What is good, YouTube, man? How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. And as you can see by the title and thumbnail, I've got for you guys my first official Raiders 2023 mock draft. This is a full 7-round mock draft. Now, just to give you guys a heads up, in this mock draft, we're going to keep it plain and simple, very vanilla. We're not going to do any trades. No trades today. But I will give you a full 7 rounds. We have a lot of picks, so I'm going to get straight to it. Matter of fact, let me know in the comment section down below after you guys watch this video. Let me know if you guys would like one with trades. I can try and get one in with that. But just so you know, I'm not using no mock draft simulators when I'm doing these. These is my grades on these players and where I think they should go if they fit with the Raiders. And yeah, that's what I'm doing with this, okay? I'm not doing any mock draft simulators. As much as I know that those are fun, I just think that they're not as realistic. All right, but let's get straight into it, man. So with the first round, we know we have the 7th overall pick, and you guys know where I'm going to go with this because previously in the video, I have mentioned who I believe the Raiders should go out and get with this pick, but with the 7th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders take linebacker out of Arkansas, Drew Sanders. So like I said, nothing changes with my first round pick. I still believe the Raiders should go out and get the 6'5", 10-sack, 100-tackle player in the first round. This is a guy that has elite versatility. He can do everything. He can come off the edge and be a monster. He could play the Mike linebacker and read the field well. He can get linebackers or he could get running backs out of the backfield and guard them, cover them as a linebacker. My favorite linebacker in this draft is Drew Sanders. Sitting at 7, I believe if there is no trades, you still go out and get him. Like I said, this is not with any mock draft simulator. These are my grades on these players. So moving forward, first round pick, we address a need. And honestly, he's a guy that can do more than just one thing. So that's who we selected in the first round. Second round, we are staying on the defensive side of the ball. One of my favorite prospects in this draft. Some would say that maybe this is too high for him to go, but honestly, I believe that this kid is so talented and he is going to absolutely burst onto the scene once he finishes the combine and once these pro days are all done. So, oops, wrong button. But in the second round of this Las Vegas Raiders mock draft, I have the Raiders taking cornerback out of Michigan, DJ Turner, with the 38th overall pick. Like I said, some would say that this is too high for him. Some would say that he's a top 50 pick, top 60 pick. Well, I got him on my board here at the 38th overall selection for the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's get to know him a little bit. He's 6 foot, 188 pounds. The man can fly. He ran an unofficial 4.28 40-yard dash for Michigan over there, clocked in by one of their staff members. Now, here's a little bit about him. I believe he's great on breaks. He has extremely good patience, and he's not over-aggressive. And that's honestly something that I look for a lot in corners when we're picking for the Las Vegas Raiders. I love physicality for corners, but not for the Raiders, just because I know the magnifying glass that our players are put under when it comes to flags and penalties. This guy's an extremely patient guy. He doesn't get handsy when guys are coming in and out of breaks on the deep ball. He stays to his assignments. He stays to his technique. DJ Turner, we may have 2 of those on the roster, man, out of Michigan. The man can tackle. I love this kid. The only thing that may be against him is the 6 foot, 188 frame, but he could put on some muscle. He's clearly fast enough to the point where if he put on some more weight, he'll still be able to fly. So that is my second round pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. But moving on, again, staying on the defense, I believe that this is a massive thing that the Raiders need to focus on. So in the third round, I have the Raiders selecting at pick 70, defensive lineman out of USC, TUIPULOTU. Simply one of the most versatile guys in this draft. Probably the most versatile guy on the defensive line. The man can do everything. He can play in that 4-3 edge. He's extremely strong. One of my favorite aspects about his game, like I said, is that versatility. 3-4 edge, 4-3 defensive tackle at the 3 technique spot. He can also play that 4-3 defensive end as well if you want to put him in on a nickel package. I think that he bodes well inside a little bit better, but this guy right here, phenomenal talent. This man on stunts and trickery on the defensive line is an absolute unit. His motor is insane. He does not give up. Like I said, pick 70. The Raiders address another need on the defensive side of the ball. TUIPULOTU at pick 70. I would absolutely love it. And we are going all defense so far in this draft. And that is going to stay that way. That is going to stay that way, as we find out here very soon. In the 4th round, I believe the Raiders need to go after another linebacker, as we've had major issues this season with that. We know that Denzel Perryman is going to be a free agent. We know that he may want to come back, but guess what? He is going through recovery for a shoulder surgery. And guess what? We know he's a very physical linebacker, and that could hinder him in his play and the play style that he has. So I think the Raiders need to go right back to another linebacker like they did in the 1st round, double back in the 4th, go out and get one of the most interesting guys in this year's class, because he's a 6th-year senior. He's already 24 years old. He played 5 years with Nevada, and then he went out, transferred after having a bunch of good seasons and good tape. He went to Washington State. And let me tell you this, you guys, he balled out with Washington State. Had 106 tackles, 4 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, an interception, and even had a pass breakup. This guy's a crazy good athlete. He's an outside linebacker, could be put at the nickel linebacker spot because of how good he is in coverage. Sideline to sideline speed, my only thing, at 6'2", 230, has problems shedding blocks though in the run game, which is why I think that he'll be a good player to put at that nickel linebacker when you know you're in a coverage situation. He can go out there and he can do that. And yes, in the 4th round, I still think that he could potentially be a starter, maybe not this season, maybe in the next. But this guy right here reminds me a lot of Divine Diablo, but he's already a true linebacker, doesn't need to be converted, and I believe his coverage skills may already be slightly more developed than Divine Diablo. So I really like DAIYAN HENLEY in this draft. Like I said, Washington State, but he's a 6-year senior. So he's already 24 coming out of this draft class, which is why I think that he may fall into the 4th, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later. But nonetheless, moving on. I love that thing right there, man. But the first offensive pick that the Raiders end up grabbing is out of position of need. One of my favorite guys in this draft. There is no doubt in my mind that this guy can make his way onto an NFL roster, coming out of Washington as well, just like the recent pick that we just had. But he's not Washington State. He plays for the Huskies, man. For those of you guys who do not know, Jackson Kirkland is a 6'7", 315-pound giant. The man originally plays left tackle, but he has had some tape on the right side, which some would say we have a bigger need at. My thing is that this is a win-win for Jackson Kirkland and the Las Vegas Raiders. This guy right here, you're not investing a massively high pick, so you can afford to make him sit behind guys, and you don't have to force him into a role immediately. A few notes that I have on him: he does lack lateral quickness and agility, but the man's size and frame is absolutely perfect for a prototypical left or right tackle. Now, you have Jermaine Illuminor that may possibly come back it would be great for him to sit behind Jermaine Illuminor, or you can simply have him sit behind left tackle Cole Miller and really learn the game and really become an ace on that left side of the offensive line if we end up deciding to move forward from Colton Miller later down in a year, 2 years time, right? But Jackson Kirkland, this man, a 5th-round developmental piece, would absolutely be perfect for the Las Vegas Raiders. The way he moves in the run game is phenomenal. And on top of that, sometimes something that you can't teach is just God-gifted talent. And this guy right here, he has a lot of God-gifted traits at 6'7". His wingspan is insane. So where he lacks in agility and where he lacks in lateral quickness, sometimes he simply is just able to make up for it with the traits that he's been given. So shout out to Jackson Kirkland, the first offensive player taken in my mock draft. Obviously, we have a lot of needs on the defensive side of the ball, and that's exactly where we're going to go back to, man. We are going to go straight back to the defensive side of the ball. And in the 5th round, only 3 picks later after getting Jackson Kirkland, I believe the Raiders should go out and get one of my favorite corners in this year's draft as well. Reminds me a lot of DJ Turner. He's a little bit bigger. He's 6 foot as well, but he's already in the 200-pound range. Or he's 193, so not 200 pounds just yet. So 5 pounds on DJ Turner. My thing is with him, they're very, very similar. Very, very similar. Just the competition he's faced was a little bit less at times than DJ Turner. So Garrett Williams is a 6 foot, 190-pound corner out of Syracuse. He had 35 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, 2 interceptions, and this man is your textbook man coverage corner. In my opinion, he's better in the press man coverage, which is something that we know Patrick Graham is going to want to implement fully once he's in his 2nd year with the Las Vegas Raiders. He can play that off-man coverage. I think he's simply just better in press man. He's very patient. He doesn't get physical on the receiver on the line. I think that this guy, when it comes to releases on the receivers, he's very patient. He opens his hips up very well. And when it comes to playing the ball in the air, the man doesn't get grabby. He doesn't start freaking hugging the receiver. He waits for the ball to turn around, or he waits for the receiver's head to turn around, and he goes and he attacks that ball in the air. I really, really, really like Garrett Williams out of Syracuse, standing at 6 foot, 190 pounds. One of my favorite guys in this year's draft. And one thing that I could say that may be a little bit bad on him is when the ball is in the air, he kind of stares like this instead of staring at the receiver. So sometimes he could get a little beat if the receiver kind of fakes him out, prematurely turns his head. The receiver may be able to get an edge on that. But guess what? In the 5th round, it's not a huge investment. You can take that risk. But we're staying on the defensive side of the ball, and we're going back. Going back to the defensive line, just like what we did in this 3rd round with Tuli Tuipulotu. We're going with a guy that is a pass rusher purely in my eyes. He's not somebody that you're going to put out there on 1st and 2nd downs to stop the run. Mr. Ali Gaye, one of my favorite guys in this year's draft, just because his frame alone reminds me a lot of Mad Max. 6'6", 265. The man's wingspan is absolutely insane. Here's my thing with Mr. Ali. 1st and 2nd downs, he can absolutely get blown out of his assignment in 1st and 2nd downs on rundowns. This is my thing with him. Good pass rusher, has violent hands in the pass rush, in situational pass rush moments. But in 1st and 2nd downs, if he's going to want to become a full-time outside linebacker that rushes the passer in a 3-4 or a full-time 4-3 defensive end, he's going to have to add minimum 5 to 8, maybe even 10 pounds. And he's going to have to sink in on his rushes a lot more. This is a guy that predominantly sits out of a two-point stance. So he's standing straight up. He wants to get off the ball, get to the quarterback, and get him down, which I understand. In the NFL, it's a different ball game. He may have a spot on this roster, 6th-round pick, good investment. Like I said, 6'6". He had 2.5 sacks, which isn't the greatest, but like I said, bad run stopper, but violent, and really good hands when it comes to pass rushing. So I think that he could find a spot on the roster. with those traits, with that frame, I think that in the 6th round at pick 189, it's a great investment for the Las Vegas Raiders. Like I said, reminds me a lot of Max Crosby in terms of his frame, not his play, but his frame. I think that this guy right here, with the proper coaching, with the proper, regiment in terms of trying to gain some weight, I think he could find himself as a rotational piece on any team in the league. So I really think that Ali Gaye is a good player for the Raiders to look after in the 6th round. Moving on, we are staying on the defensive side of the ball. So in the 7th round, we finally, and maybe I should have gotten this position of need done earlier, but we finally go out and get a safety. Now, this is not a safety that I'm saying is going to come in and change the game on the back end. I'm not going to sell you a dream, because this is the 7th round at this point. We're 198 picks in, and this is where the Mississippi State safety gets picked. Now, he's had a good season, right? He's 6'1", 200 pounds. He's had 2 interceptions this season, a forced fumble. The man can hit. Hard hitting safety. My thing is that he comes down in the box a lot, and they never really used him in man coverage. So we can't tell what his man coverage skills are in terms of trying to eliminate running backs or eliminate tight ends as he's coming down in the box. This is a guy that in zone coverage does well. He keeps his assignment. He makes it look easy at times. But with the lack of film and the lack of opportunity that I feel Mississippi State did or did not give him, I feel like this is why he's going to drop, right? He has good size. Like I said, 6'1", 200 pounds, perfect defensive back size, in my opinion, for a safety. Like I said, hard hitter. I believe that in the first year, while he's trying to get his feet under him, if he is to make the roster, he's going to predominantly be on special teams unless he absolutely lights up training camp. I think he'll predominantly be on special teams. He's quick, good tackler. And then he can try and make his way up to possibly being a starting safety, rotational safety, situational safety at times for the Las Vegas Raiders in maybe year 2 or year 3. But Jalen Green, I would not mind in the 7th round, the Las Vegas Raiders getting the Mississippi State man in the 7th. 100, pick 198, go out and do it. Now, to round off this year's draft, my mock draft that I have for the Las Vegas Raiders, we're going to finish it off on the offensive side of the ball. The man was in the natty. He was in the natty, man. Didn't do the best, but you finish it off. And in the 7th round, we don't let the man go undrafted. We pick up quarterback Max Duggan out of TCU. The man right here is pretty simple. He's a project quarterback, but he does have some upside. He can move in the pocket. He can extend plays. And simply, he went to the Nationals championship, so this is why people got to see him more. I like this kid. Like I said, he'd probably be your 3rd or 4th QB. It's simply to not let him hit the undrafted free agency market. You get him under contract long term. Therefore, you don't have to deal with any specifics of signing bonuses and competing with other teams. You get a smart kid. You go out. He was in the natty. You know he's got some dog in him. Therefore, you pick him in the 7th round and you move forward. Pretty simple as that. Let me know what you guys think about my first official Raiders mock draft. Just to give you the rundown. 1st round, we go Drew Sanders. 2nd round, we went DJ Turner, cornerback out of Michigan. 3rd round, we went defensive lineman, TUIPULOTU out of USC. Then we went HENLEY out of Washington State, linebacker. Then we got our offensive tackle to groom behind, our older guys. Jackson Kirkland out of Washington, playing with the Huskies. 5th round, we go back. We get a corner out of Syracuse, Garrett Williams. 6th round, the 6'6", 265-pound outside linebacker out of LSU. Decent pass rusher. Then we go get a safety out of Mississippi State, and we round it off with Max Duggan. Let me know what you guys think about this. Give me a grade of this mock draft in the comment section down below. I absolutely love this. I would freaking jump out of my seat or wherever I am during the draft if we get at least 3 of these guys on this list. That would be amazing. But let me know who you guys think the Raiders should go out and draft. This is done and dusted. Like I said earlier, if you would like to see me do one with trades, simply just let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll get to working on it. But as always, love y'all. Stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'm out, you guys. Peace.
Welcome to the Death Star.